Next question. Can the Cowboys get to the playoffs with the Brandon Williams?
Poppy, the Cowboys are an utter disgrace. I think they'd be better off if Jerry Jones was taking snaps himself. Look, I know that he's on the wrong side of 70, but let's face it. I mean, the guy wears cowboy hats, for crying out loud, Poppy. He is a cowboy, and you know what? If Clint Eastwood can do it in Unforgiven, then Poppy, he can do it in Dallas.
Next question. Can the Cubs make it to the World Series and win?
Chicago abandoned all hope. This will never change. This isn't like Facebook where the student body gets together to vote you prom king. This is the Cubs. This is real life. And no matter how many GMs or managers or faith healers you want to hire, your dream of winning the World Series will never rise again from the grave.
It sounds like a scary zombie movie that Papa no one to watch.
Like the box score.
Start right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles. They are the Danettes in New York City. Now it has finally happened. The Cubs have won a playoff series in Wrigley Field for the first time since moving to the friendly confines 100 years ago. Now, Paulie, have you let yourself envision that moment when the Cubs finally do win the World Series? And if so, what does it look like in your head?
That's a good question, and the answer is no. I've never thought about the reality of winning a World Series because it's always seemed extremely far off. It still feels extremely far off. Remember, the Cubs are 8 wins away from the World Series title. That's a lot. And they are going to face possibly, I mean, obviously one of the two best pitchers in baseball or one of the best young pitching staffs in baseball. It's not like there's, if I were betting right now, I'd bet against the Cubs from a reality standpoint. But last night was a blast. To beat the Cardinals was kind of surreal.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the Cubs hired Theo Epstein as their GM to try to work the same magic he did with the Red Sox. Now, McLovin, is Epstein disassembling baseball tradition by bringing wins to franchises that shouldn't be doing this in the postseason?
Yeah, it's a great point. He's a sabermetrician, much like me. And Theo and I have a lot in common, except he's really good-looking and wildly successful. Other than that, we get confused a lot. Yeah, who's next? Maybe, you know, actually, Fritzy's Astros have a similar. They have their own Theo. It's the nerds are taking over baseball, and the world is next.
I got a question about this. I was thinking about Theo yesterday. If the Cubs win the World Series based on Theo Epstein's building of the team, would he be in the Baseball Hall of Fame as an executive someday?
Take the Red Sox and the Cubs.
Red Sox and the Cubs, absolutely.
I would assume that he would go to the Hall of Fame based on that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how executives go in the Hall of Fame. I don't think they go. It's like in the contributor.
However they can get him in, whatever they want to call it.
Hall of Famer.
How could you not put him in to take Boston and Chicago both to a World Series?
Well said, Fritzy.
Yeah, we'll see if Fritzy's Astros make it to the NLCS. All right, well, Sean Casey dropped by the Man Cave today, and DP asked Sean who he'd want to face if he were the Cubs.
I wouldn't want to face the Dodgers, that staff. I wouldn't want to face Kershaw and Greinke and have to have them a couple times in the series. I think the Mets offense scares me a lot more, obviously, than the Dodgers does. But
isn't that interesting that I didn't think the Mets had enough offense at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, isn't that amazing? You compare the Dodgers offense to the Mets offense, you say no doubt the Mets offense is better. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, pitching is what wins ball games, and the Cubs, that offense right now is clicking like, you know, one of the best in the history of the game in the postseason. So, you know, one swing of the bat wins the game for them.
It was great having Sean in, but you know, we were just talking about it while that soundbite was being played. With his personality and the stories he was telling, and walk-up songs, and just all the silliness and being thrown out in left field. There was like so much stuff there. You forgot that one of the main reasons we had him in is he's an MLB Network analyst, and we're in the middle of the playoffs, and we want him to kind of break down what he's seen so far and what he expects to see in the coming days. And I found myself, as I've done many times during the course of this fine program, tuning out a little bit to the baseball analysis, and I was a lot more excited just to hear Sean all animated and telling his stories instead of who he thinks is going to win Game 5.
I think you do have a point. Sometimes you have a guest who tells such killer stories that by the time you get to the analysis, you can't go killer stories first and then analysis.
I just wanted to hear more stories.
You're right, and I said it to Dan's ear, want to hit the games, and I didn't really care if Dan hit the games or not, but if you do the entire segment without touching on the playoffs, I think you're doing a disservice to what he does for a living to a point. But I know it almost feels, is it the term denouement? the end of a movie where it's kind of like flattens out a little bit.
But we have Dodgers fans in their cars. We have Cubs fans in their cars. So
and some people really want that breakdown.
A lot of people watched the game last night, so people do want that.
Because there's other people in the car probably thinking like, why am I listening to Sean Casey talk about his baseball career and get thrown at first? No matter how good the story is, they're probably like, okay, tell me about my team.
What if you have a 10-minute car ride and you watch the game last night and you want to hear some analysis on it? Then you want to get to that. Maybe.
Tough.
You have to play. You serve many roles.
But don't you feel like a lot of times that kind of thing has to be on like, unless it's like something big has to happen. There has to be a controversial play or a really big performance. Like that, isn't that the kind of thing that you're most likely to tune in for? Like, oh, I have to hear Sean Casey talk about this.
I don't know. I feel like every time I watch Monday Night Football, I watch it every Monday. Tuesday, I can hear them say almost anything about it, usually, unless it's a real snoozer. So maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's big enough. Playoffs is big enough.
The good thing with Sean, he's such a good storyteller that he's a sure thing. We didn't know what he's going to talk about today. We had nothing planned except for let's talk some baseball. I actually mentioned to one of the people at MLB Network, I'm like, this guy, I mean, they know he's a gem. They know he's a star. But it'd be great if they put a situation or a segment where he just had 90 seconds to, Sean, story time. And they don't, no one on the set knows what he's going to talk about. Can you imagine if the other three guys on set were just like this, like we are, and Sean just goes, here's a story about my dad at a baseball game.
Because when he's telling a story, you can tell that he's like, he tells a story and then that reminds him of this other time that something else happened, and that reminds him of another story too, that, and then this other time that happened. And you're like, whoa, it's like just one after the other.
Awesome.
He can spin a yarn, as they say. Now, Seton, your front row partner is awfully mean, but he is a fan of a team with a fun and amazing story. Are you cheering for the Cubs, or are you rooting against them so you can see Paulie crestfallen?
Man, you know, that is a great question. Yeah. And I would have to say that I'm sort of 50-50. I love watching the Cubs win, and I think it's really great, but there is a part of me, and it's a really mean, dark, awful part of me that is like, oh man, but imagine if they lost in the World Series again. And I smile about it, where I'm like, oh my God, that would be so great. And I feel terrible for being that way.
Isn't it okay for us to root against each other's sport interests? Like, I found myself disliking the Pates since you jumped on that bandwagon 2 years ago. I root against. I love to see your Broncos struggle. Coming in Monday after a big Broncos loss is a blast. And the problem is, I actually love these young Cubs, but I would like to see Paulie's heart break on national TV. Well, if there was a morning game, we could see Paulie. That'd be great.
You know, as a producer, I want an extreme. I want the Cubs to win it in Game 7 on the last at-bat, or to have their freaking hearts ripped out on the last pitch of Game 7 of the World Series. As a producer, because we could do a lot with that. What I don't want is the Cubs to lose to the Dodgers in 4. Because then it's, all right, where's the drama there? I need drama either way. And if they win it, there's less to do on the show. Winning it, it kind of puts an end to a story and changes the tone. If they get their hearts ripped out again, it's that feeds the beast.
Baseball gods, please crush the Cubs at the very end. At the very end. All right, coming up, oh my God, we almost lost the boss today. Video evidence when we return. You want video evidence of perfection? I submit to you video of the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. They can do a swimsuit shoot. They can do catalog work. Sweaters, slacks, it doesn't matter. It's always dressy and always sassy. Give me guts, give me glory, give me Ram. Perfect.
Do you have a man cave?
I do not. Yeah, I lived with 4 women my whole life, and I love the company of being with women, especially beautiful women like my daughters and wife, and I can't understand like someone like yourself would just bury himself in a place where you wouldn't have the frequency of contact with such beautiful people.
We are back here on the box score. Guys, first team all smartass Mike Krzyzewski joined the show today. And McLovin, John Wooden is widely regarded as the finest college hoops coach of all time. What does Coach K need to do to be seen as the best ever?
It's going to be tough because Wooden won all those in a row. But to be fair, Wooden did it in a different era. I think there was only there were 34 eligible teams for a 32-man tournament or something. I don't have my exact numbers right. Basically, Wooden, they didn't have the same road. What Coach K has done is right there, in my opinion. And also, Wooden probably would have been a great guest on the show. I don't know, but we know Coach K is a great guest.
I think we had Coach Wooden on back in the early 2000s.
Oh, you did? Was he fun?
Yeah, he was actually quite lively and fun and a good storyteller. And I remember he said Dan with every answer. He goes, Dan.
Yeah.
And he's very polite and very measured, and the way he spoke was had a paced tone to it. But the good thing about Coach Krzyzewski is that he's at worst the second best college basketball coach of all time. And if you said, who are the greatest coaches in American sports history, he's in the conversation no matter what sports you put in.
And Dan would tell a story about, like, he couldn't believe what a modest home that Coach Wooden lived in.
A nice little apartment in Westwood.
Just like a small little place that you would never think that John Wooden lived in.
He had money, he just lived sparsely.
By the way, one night, Sportsman of the Year, Coach K wanted, Dan presented and interviewed him for Sports Illustrated. And right before he's about to go on, there's all these superstars there. Coach K goes, hey, what do you think of this, Patrick? I know that you've never been up here. And he's like, he's so focused on Dan. He loves Dan. I mean, he loves DP.
He is the best.
And Brock, real quick, he probably liked today is that he didn't spend like 8 minutes on Duke basketball. That's all he does. He didn't want to stop talking about the Cubs. If you notice at the end, we were going late because he was trying to break down the rotation and how they do it against the Dodgers or something. He's like, this is refreshing.
Yeah, no, and even Coach K had a little commentary on Steve Spurrier and his surprising resignation this week.
I'm not saying something is wrong with him physically, but you get older, and it takes a lot of energy to be not just competitive, but competitive at the highest level. And once you are at that level, if you feel that you cannot, for whatever reasons, reach that level, I think it's appropriate for you to step down and not hang on.
You can hear the respect, obviously, Coach K has for Steve Spurrier. Not that he wasn't fully revealing his thoughts, but I'm wondering if it was a coach he didn't hold as in high regard or didn't have a relationship with the Spurs days coaching Duke, and they've seen each other, I'm sure, a number of times with North Carolina and South Carolina. Right, being there. But I thought it was, I was surprised that he didn't go a little further and said, like, that's something personally I could never do unless I had, some kind of health crisis or some kind of family situation where, to leave in the middle of the season. But he stopped way short of saying something controversial like that, where he was shocked. And maybe he feels that way, but I think if we put a lie detector test up to him, I don't think I could ever see Coach K walking away. I don't care if they started a season like 0-15, that he wouldn't finish out the year.
Well, you had Spurrier join you guys today in the last segment. Paulie, does his leaving mid-season tarnish his legacy at all?
It tarnishes tarnishes, strong word. It makes it for a quite uncomfortable exit for some people. I respect it, but I also think I don't think I would do that if I were in that situation. You can make it 6 more games. You have 6 more games and you have coaching. But in his mind, I think he really believes this is the right move for the best for the program. And he believes that recruiting's got to start now with a new regime. And he knows a lot more about recruiting than we do. But
10 years from now, Paul, will we remember this?
No, because you'll remember him at Florida.
Be a footnote.
He's going to go down as the Florida legendary coach.
Yeah.
South Carolina will be in there as well because that was an average program at best when he got there. But he's also going to be remembered as an entertainer, and he broke some news with us today telling us he's going to be on College Game Day this weekend, which nobody knew. And I think that's just a tryout for College Game Day. I'd be shocked if he doesn't do every other College Game Day next year or become a full-time employee because he's an absolute sure thing. That'd be one of the best hires in recent history for ESPN.
Well, today, DP almost bailed on you guys, but not by choice, as Dan almost had his head taken off by a light cover. Seton, you guys work in a pretty hazardous area. What's the worst injury one of you have suffered thanks to working on a set every day?
One time, that was scary, by the way, that thing falling.
I was into boxing. You could hear that loud.
Because I don't know how heavy it is, but it's definitely got some sharp edges to it. One time Paul was sitting at his desk and he stood up, and there's a camera called the Jib that's like basically on like a big crane.
Want to reenact?
And
you swing
Paul
the jib?
Stood up and cracked his head on the jib camera that was right over his head there, and like a screw or something went into Paul's head and he was bleeding.
Well, if you look on our jib cam, we can't move it during this, but there's a baseball, a little tennis ball on top. Because when I jumped up and hit my head, I put a little gash in it, and it was dripping a little bit, but not too bad. But it was a
actually
shocker.
running all down the back of his head. Actually, we got to make this into a bigger story.
Yeah.
It started out like this, and he was like, "Hey, is it bleeding?"
Concussed,
and he's like, "No, it's not that bad." And then all of a sudden, it just opened up.
Skull fracture.
Yeah.
What other?
And the cameraman was like, "Hey, dude, watch the camera." And we were like, wow, that's
Those are
kind
very
of messed up.
expensive. It
We
was
didn't
like
expect that at all. Like,
Mean-spirited.
dude,
Remember
the
that?
guy's head's bleeding, and you're like, hey, you almost broke my camera. Like, get over it.
Remember that time Dan wanted to hang those really heavy posters right over me and Fritzy's
Yeah, that
head?
was
Like the
great idea.
idiots in the back room were like with like this little hammer, like let's have these 200-pound. They were like guillotines right over me.
Constantly,
And I had to step up and say,
waiting for it to fall.
I am not sitting on
And Dan was trying to hang them with like these little finishing nails that you would use for like finishing nails.
Like if you were putting like a baseboard or like some kind of molding
These
on your
little
wall, like these little ones.
tack nails that are not supposed to hold up anything, and it's like a 15-pound Kevin Love autographed jersey. It's
right over our head, like literally they fall on
It's gonna
Fritzy's
fall
neck.
immediately after you hang it.
All right, please be careful, guys, in the future. If you're going to have an accident, just have it on camera. That's all we ask here. All right, coming up, we are talking about today, but way back in the day. Oh, welcome back to the Box Score. We are always in a rush to move forward with our lives, but today we shall look deep into the past. It is Roe versus Roe. As a quiz, I will give you, it is today in history. This date in history. Front row will be up first. On this date in 1971, this Pittsburgh Pirate hit safely in his 12th straight World Series game. Who was it?
Oh man, let's try your first one.
Roberto Clemente?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Claro KC, it is Roberto Clemente. Back row. On this
Sports
date,
Jeopardy right there.
in 2003, the Cubs lost a playoff game that made a man named Steve Bartman famous. Who hit the ball that changed history?
Wow.
Oh, snap.
So Moises Alou is over there.
That helps not at all.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, what a great
I'm hoping
question.
you know this.
Talk about somebody who doesn't.
Against the Marlins.
Nobody remembers.
So it's got to be
let's see if I will
third base side, right? So it's got to be a lefty. Lefty. Let's go with what's that guy?
What's that guy?
Oh, let's go with Marlin.
Jeff Conine?
Pasenik. Jeff Conine. That's who, but he's a righty. Oh, who's a lefty? Scott
Can't remember.
Sheffield.
That's a great question.
Let's go.
Really, Sheffield?
Let's
know
go
it's
with
not
Jeff.
him.
Jeff
We're gonna say
Conine.
Jeff Conine.
Love Jeff
We know it's not
Conine.
him.
It might not be him, but we love him.
He is very lovable, but indeed the wrong answer. Luis Castillo.
Oh, man. I
would've
would have
got
gotten that in a million years.
Nope.
Front row. On this date in 2000, Roger Clemens tossed a record 15 strikeouts in a World Series game. The Yankees would go on to win their third straight World Series. Name the 3 teams they beat.
I know they beat the Braves in that neck of the
I know they
woods.
beat the Braves for sure. And then
Padres was
they
earlier.
Lost to the Diamondbacks.
Braves, Padres, Mets.
Sure.
Braves, Padres, Mets.
Yes, absolutely, you are correct. Padres, Braves, Mets in that order.
Good job.
98, 99, and 2000. All right, back row. On this date in 1996, the Braves beat the Cardinals 14-0 with a playoff record 22 hits. Who led the team in home runs that season?
By the way, can we just say that we're getting baseball questions, they're getting softball questions? You asked Seton a question about who won the Yankees World Series.
You want to say Dave Justice? Maybe? It's not Bob Horner.
Yeah, Dave Justice is a goodie. That's a good guess. McGriff. What year was it?
96.
It's either, I would say McGriff.
Okay. We're going to go McGriff.
It was probably
Our
Justice.
backup answer is Dave Justice.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
All right, well, both answers are incorrect. We were looking for Ryan Klesko with 34 home runs.
Oh, look
Ryan
at that. These
Klesko.
are tough ones.
Come on,
We got-
guys. That one was so obvious.
Ryan Klesko.
Roberto Clemente we had.
Yeah, by the way, name another player on the 71 Pirates, and I will give you $1 million.
Our new question, the next question is, New York has a baseball team in the Bronx. They are called...
So fixed.
Sounds like...
Let's see.
Ryan
Spankies.
Klesko.
I don't think the Mets are there.
All right, front row on
Luis
this date
Castillo
in
and Ryan Klesko.
2011,
That's
a member of the Dan Patrick Show made a major life announcement. What was it?
I'm going to say Seton announced he's going to have a baby.
See, do you agree?
No, because Kieran was in 2010. I think.
Did I announce... what,
Anders having a baby?
when was your baby born?
August 2011.
Okay.
2010, maybe.
October.
A major life.
Fritzy lap band.
Little lap band.
Your answer, please.
I would say McLovin said he's going to have a baby.
You are correct. He announces his second child, so well done, sir.
Of the year, Andrew McLovin
You were
Perloff. having a second child.
Yo! Whoa! Whoa!
Yes! Eat it. Nailed it, dude. Nailed it.
I have 2 children?
Yeah.
I know about Lucy. What's the
You're
other one?
wrong about your own child.
Wow, you're a bad father. I had no idea.
Yeah. We
All
give
right.
Fritzy crap for not knowing anything about anyone.
And it's a
Seems
Honda
like a
Accord.
different lifetime.
He named his child Honda Accord. And finally, the back row.
Honda Accord.
On this date last year, Seaton shocked the world with this story about getting strip searched by the police. What was he detained for?
Oh, you got to be more specific on this one. Which year did he get detained by the police?
Man, I told that story on the air.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't remember any marijuana stories. Marijuana.
How many crimes could he be involved in? Like, it's probably not.
I would say a firearm.
He had some kind of weapon on it?
Yeah, I think he probably did get in the air.
Let's get your answer,
he's a
please.
big weapon guy.
With a
I'm a
22.
huge gun guy. Yeah.
Firearm.
Yeah, was it a sidearm?
They strip searched you?
They did for a disorderly conduct ticket. Yeah.
What were they looking for?
It's a great question, but they were very thorough.
I thought they meant like they were looking for some sort of contraband.
I was like, why does McLovin think that you?
But how would you know that part? How would you know that part of the clip?
And when you guess
Doesn't make any
drugs
sense.
over
But why
guns,
would they strip search you for it?
That's why I thought it was. I thought it was public alcohol.
Yeah, all of this is
Assholes.
fluff anyway,
That's
because
why
the
I would
winning
never
row
think
today
like you're
is
stripping
the front row. Congratulations.
When do we get the music?
Now turn your head and cough, Seaton. All right, don't go away. The greatest documentary in history. Stop by the Man Cave. But first, this is the box score. And we are taking a break to remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing torque and horsepower, doesn't need one. And never is disorderly, always orderly. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram.
So what is your relationship right now with your brother Frank? I mean, it was pretty tense, but things seem to be getting better.
Rudy's brother Frank? You want to know about Rudy?
Your brother Frank.
Yeah, I'm actually not the real Rudy.
he doesn't want to talk personal. Okay, do you keep in touch with Fortune the groundskeeper after you left?
All right, so it's a movie.
Great movie.
We are closing up shop here on the box score. Well, today he dropped by the greatest athlete in all of Notre Dame history, Rudy Ruettiger. And apparently at some point in his life, he has changed his name to Sean Astin, I guess. But that's probably because too many people are following him around. Anyway, Paulie, how happy did Astin's appearance make you?
It was pretty cool because I'm almost shocked that we hadn't had him in studio before. As much as we've talked about Rudy over the years, it just hasn't happened. And the funny thing was, we were discussing about taking the show to Notre Dame about a month ago. And one of the ideas we had was, let's fly Sean Astin in and have him kind of sit in for the hour at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, that's gonna be tough to do. And all of a sudden we get a note that he's promoting a movie and could be in New York City, and it was actually quite a lot easier to get him. So it worked out. But I talked him back a little bit. He's got a fun sense of humor. He's loose about it. You know, he's got a long career. I'm sure he's done very well for himself. And I've heard more athletes and more actors than not say, you know what? It's cool that someone asks you about something great that you've done. It's not cool if nobody asks you anything about you've never done anything great to be asked about, because that would be a crime. He goes, so you might be annoyed by being asked about Rudy, but what if you're asked about nothing? How would that feel? Some actor said that.
That's great.
He's cool, and everyone's asking Astin questions all the time. Of course, he asked a Danette, put him to the test on some of his movies, and then this happened.
Sam's sword, not Sting. Sting is for you guys. You guys know. Sting is the one that...
McLovin will.
Yeah. Sting glows, what color? Blue, yes.
Oh,
blue.
wow.
Sting glows blue.
McLovin, are you kidding me?
Ready? This is double down, right? If you get this one, the first one is obliterated. What's the place that we go to? What's the volcano called? That place on the way to Mount
Snow.
What? Oh, Lord is right.
There needs to be a formal stripping of the title of head geek. I mean...
Turn in your glasses, McLovin.
There you go.
There you go.
We'll just let them sit there in a kind of space of shame.
Nerd shame.
Your laugh is the best thing in the whole world.
Well, I think I sort of upped my street cred with that. Like, now you can't call me a nerd, which has its benefits.
No. What happened is you've lost everything. Like, your street cred didn't go up because you're still in the nerd column.
Right.
Just now you have no respect from the nerds. But your other street cred does not then magnify or boost.
You've watered down your brand. You're like a running quarterback who no longer runs the ball. The thing that got you here, now you're just going to drop back and pass like Kaepernick. You know, you ran. That's how you got here, by running. You got here by being a Thunder geek. I mean, you were the man.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he was talking about his new movie, so I was totally glazed over the 2 minutes before.
That's a shot.
That's a shot.
A little deflection.
But I actually don't know Lord of the Rings that well. I'm going to tell you, I've never read it.
Well, it did seem like that. I've seen those movies about 1,000 times each. And those seem to be pretty obscure.
By the way, yeah. But he's like, what color is this something? I didn't even know what he was talking about.
The Sneed.
He's just a Comic-Con nerd. I'm like a normal nerd, not a Comic-Con nerd.
Yeah, the Sneed. What color is the Sneed?
Mount Doom.
It's Sting.
By the way, you should get a little bit of
Mordor.
credit because you went 4 letters snow, 4 letters doom.
That was in my head.
That was, all right, you weren't far off.
Your road to redemption to be a nerd again is to win a tournament of Magic the Gathering. Good luck on that. Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly will tell Seton and Dan where they should be going when they hang out this weekend in South Bend. Tony Gonzalez from the NFL Today on CBS will be with us as well.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We are back tomorrow, same time, same channel. The podcast is available on iTunes or at podcast1.com. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!